All right. Welcome, everybody. So glad to see you guys. Diana, good to see you. We've got Bobby Joe, Glenn, good to see you guys. Listen, my name is Patrick Antrim. I am the chairman of the Multifamily Innovation Advisory Council, and welcome to the Multifamily Innovation Showcase. This is all about bringing the trade show to you, bringing the content and the value that makes your life easier or creates a bigger and better opportunity. In some cases, maybe perhaps solves a problem. So you'll see here off to the right of your screen, if you're watching on a laptop or your computer at the office, off to the right, there'll be a way to enter any questions that you have throughout the presentation. And then if you're on mobile, that may be scrolling down and seeing below the video, you'll see opportunity to see the questions that are asked, and then you can type in your questions throughout the event. So the reason why we do it this way is you don't have to show your face on camera. You know, Academy Awards and all these things have been virtual for I don't know how many years, right? And most of these in-person events are designed to activate extroverts, right? So a lot of times we get some really great questions because people can just type in their questions without becoming public speakers. And so we're having some real fun with this part of our Innovation Council as well. So again, we have an annual event every year called the Multifamily Innovation Summit. We meet in person with that event, and every week between that event, for 52 weeks a year, we meet with owners and operators as part of the Multifamily Innovation Advisory Council. Now at the summit, the topic that we're going to be talking about today, we discussed, and we brought in a partner to talk about those things, and we give them 12 minutes because it's in person. We have to move things a little quicker. And it does, 12 minutes isn't a lot of time to really understand something, but it does take time to transfer the knowledge, right? You have to know what is possible within your organization, how things would work, all of that stuff. So again, reminding you, off to the right or down below on your screen, you'll have an opportunity to answer questions or enter your questions that you have throughout the presentation. Don't wait until the end. We don't have to wait till the Q&A to the end to do that. You can do that as soon as you get started, right? So if you're joining us, put in the comments where you're dialing in from, where you're viewing from. Would love to know who's joining us today. So we're here to talk about increasing the value of the apartment lease. Now, without spending money on capital improvements. That's usually how we've done it, right? You buy a property, put cabinets, remodels, make things more valuable, but we have to spend the money to do that. Now, in multifamily, really, if you look back at what our business is about, it's about creating wealth, for our investors, right? Or in many cases, protecting that wealth. They're not necessarily looking for the biggest yields. They're looking at making sure that their money grows over generations. So what can we learn from two of the wealthiest people on the planet? Who would that be, right? If you think you know who I'm going to talk about, put that in the comments, right? I would love to know who you believe the two wealthiest people on the planet are and what I will be mentioning about them. So to give you a fast start to that, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, many of you know, famous for creating a brand that people use probably every day. I'm sure you're getting those packages from that brand at your properties. But what we know about Jeff Bezos is he has a vision about how to innovate in the future. And what he says is that the customer of the future will always care about lower costs of things, no matter what those costs are. Always going to be a customer that wants to get things efficiently, without friction, at a lower cost, right? So that's Jeff Bezos. Well, what about Elon Musk? Now, when Elon Musk was asked, what's the price of the Tesla going to be with all the supply chain and inflation and rising costs and all that stuff? And, the way Elon kind of answers, he's kind of, like this, and he looks up and he's like, gives a lot of deep thought to his answer. And he says, it's not that we're trying to lower the cost of the vehicle. We're trying to make the vehicle more valuable, right? So you got all the people that invented the vehicle, the production of it, all the automakers, and, you have this different way of seeing the business and the customer. And they've been quite successful. And if our job in multifamily is to create wealth, it does make sense to understand that customer. Now, how would that work, right? Well, if you think about it, if in the automotive example with Elon Musk, increasing the value of that vehicle would look like, just stop for a moment and think about where your car is right now. Are you driving it? Hopefully not. If you are, audio only. But listen, your car is probably parked somewhere because most of the time it's not being utilized. It's underutilized, right? And so we're paying for something that's not even being used. So imagine your car, you come to the office, and your car instead of being parked in the garage or wherever it is, it's doing Uber rides for you, making you money. So now that $600 car payment is making you $2,800 in income, right? So Elon Musk and even Amazon, people are Amazon sellers, they're making life better for the people that interact with their brand. Their purchasing power is going up. Their life's getting more frictionless. Products are coming to them instead of going to the store, right? So wealthy individuals understand the customer and their businesses. That's sometimes the most risk-adverse thing you can do is to innovate in those strategies. So what we start to look at is that $600 car payment, because you're making $2,800 in income because it's driving around, making Uber rides for you, it's more of a valuable expense. Now listen, if you and I and everybody that's running investment properties today, if we focus on the customer as the employee or as an investor, you walk into a company and you win for the customer, you're going to win and have a great career and investment. You'll be chosen to run big deals and big portfolios. We all win when that happens. So let me take a look and pull back the lens about what happens in multifamily. And you know this to be true. We buy a property, we improve the property, right? Reposition, renovations, capital improvements. It's the transactional, it's the obvious linear things we've been doing forever, right? And then we raise the rent. Then we sell to someone else who repeats the cycle. And what do? They buy the property at a higher basis, and it repeats. They're doing different things. Instead of balconies and curbs and asphalt, they're doing interior improvements or whatever. At the end of the day, you're creating an affordability problem for the customer. You're not thinking like the two wealthiest people in the world who are thinking about how do I get the customer something at a lower cost in a frictionless experience and bring the products to them. So you're here because you understand these things. We need innovation and leadership, like what Elon Musk did to the auto industry. Listen, you're here because you're one of those leaders. Now, often industry insiders really do not reshape industries or opportunities. And think of NASA. These are the smartest people in the world. They didn't see that, we could launch a rocket without blowing it up, exploding the most valuable part of the business. Smart people may not even see it. So today, we're going to step back. I want you to just think about the business a little differently, right? The automakers, the best ones in the world, Ford, Chevy, Toyota, all the automakers didn't see the possibility of electric vehicles because batteries were $600, right? They missed it. And now they're chasing Tesla in this pursuit. So today, again, just take a step back, open your mind to what is possible, because my guest today is going to show you how you can help the apartment owners increase the value of their apartment lease, just how Elon's increasing the value of your vehicle. Now imagine providing in your property, and some of you worked on mixed-use community. It's kind of fun. You can go to work, and outside the property, there's retail below, and you have some coffee or bagels and some amenities that make sense for that community that you've built. Now imagine being able to provide mixed-use opportunity on your property without building and constructing a mixed-use building. It's all those amenities that are complementary to the residents. Now, before I introduce our next guest expert, I want to tell you this really quick story about a general manager in MGM Las Vegas. Now, he was tasked with growing the business, right? New general manager, what can I do to make this business better? Now, occupancy was full. Things looked good. You look at the benchmarks, they were hitting all the marks. But how much money were they missing that they didn't even know that they were missing? And you might ask, well, what are you talking about, Patrick? What do you mean by that? Now, this GM at MGM Properties started to ask the hotel guests as they were walking out onto the Strip. If you've ever been there, there's a lot of options in Las Vegas. Come to one hotel, you spend money all over the place. And started asking people, hey, where are you going? And the trend in those answers were they were going to celebrity restaurants. So what they did is they made the investment. They brought in a celebrity restaurant, the property, and they found money they otherwise would have lost. Now, when you say lost, what do you mean by that? Now, it's not showing up on their P&L. It's not a collection issue. They just didn't know that they could have achieved that type of revenue. And what we're talking about here as it relates to your apartment portfolios is the aggregate purchasing power of the customer. They were spending money in Las Vegas, just not at MGM. So if renters are spending money, half of their money on rent, let's call it half, right? Some of them are spending 30%, but let's just cut it in half. Where's the other half going? That's what we're here to talk about today, and how to capture the aggregate purchasing power of that resident. So here to do that is Kelly Krasner. She's the Vice President of Growth for Nice Healthcare. So please give her a warm welcome. Welcome in, Kelly. All right.
Hey, everybody. This is so fun. We've got Houston, Tennessee. There's people from all over the place in the house. So I'm hoping that some of you are not as covered in snow as some others, but it looked like a pretty fun snow day out there. Thank you. Thank you for having me in. Appreciate the intro there, Patrick, and really excited to be here with everybody. So we have a little time together here to chat about how to innovate to bring new value to your lease so that the resident experience is elevated. Your brand is top of mind right now, and it's remaining top of mind, and your revenue opportunity needs to remain strong. There's a lot of conversation about this topic happening right now. It's about how to create a more meaningful lease, how to still make money on the lease, and how to offer a more meaningful experience for your residents. So right now you're all dialed in to your residents, and you know that they want to bring their pets to the space. You know they need a loving space for them, an outdoor dog park, right? We all want our pets around us. You know that they want to be able to do their fitness and work from home, right? They want everything smart, on demand, a place to park that sassy new EV like he was just talking about. The amenities that are the wants are all there, and they're absolutely fabulous. Hey, Venus from Tucson. So the next question is, what is it that they might need? What is in the value for the long term? What do residents actually need to survive and thrive? And that's where we hope Nice can help. So I'll walk you through a little bit more of that through some of the slides now. I'll just look over here real quick and make sure there's no questions before we get going. All right. So I'm going to walk through some slides and kind of explain what Nice Healthcare is, because at the summit where I was speaking, I told a little story some of you may remember, and it was more about a resident experience and how we could have helped them. But today I'm going to walk through just pretty much the nuts and bolts of what we do and go from there. All right. So what's next for communities? The great amenities like dog parks and fitness centers are always well received, like we just mentioned. But what's next? What is coming next? When they talk about innovation, we have these things in unit, right, or in the space. But what are we bringing innovative-wise? And why are we here, right? We've learned that conveniences are of the utmost importance for your residents and also for you owners and operators, right? The less you have to do to implement something innovative, the better and more helpful it is for you. So we know the importance of making life easy for residents and for owners and operators. What is Nice? So we're so many things. We're concierge healthcare. We're on demand. We're everyday health and wellness brought straight into the home. We start virtually, and then we can come into the home if needed. And why does that matter for residents? Everybody's talking about fitness, wellness, this new lifestyle brand of being healthy. Healthy is the new cool, the new awesome, right? We're going beyond wellness as far as gyms and pools are concerned. Those are amazing, but they're not the core need for fitness and wellness. We're going for true convenience. When they're sick and they don't want to leave home, when they're curled up in their bed with a fever of 102, the last thing they want to do is get out from under the blanket, get in a car, go sit and wait in a waiting room for however long. I think we all know how long that can take, right? They don't want to sit there. They don't want to drive there. They want to be home. We come to them. This is also an exclusive product. This is not something residents can buy out in the world. They have to have it through a partnership with your property. So if you don't have this, or the other property has it and you don't have it, they can get it there, but they can't get it with you, or vice versa. So this is an exclusive opportunity for a resident and your property. We do house calls and anywhere care. So this is a little bit retro, right? This is kind of like going back to the old days where the doctor came to the home. Well, we're bringing it forward and we're doing it more innovative and with more technology, but the same idea. It's very convenient. There's a beautiful human touch to this. So while technology is very cool and we're all kind of behind screens at this point, the fact that we all still need human touch is very apparent, and that's where we come in. So we're making it convenient, and then we're making your community a thriving community. So picture a healthy, thriving community where everyone has peace of mind about their health, where your very sickest of residents are not walking through your lobby and spreading the germs, where people who are sick are not afraid to go to the doctor because they can't afford it, right? Or they can afford it, but it diminishes their income somewhere else. So that's what we're looking for. How do we get them to really thrive? And then there's new revenue for your building. So there's a lower per resident per month rate, which means communities can increase the revenue there. And it's an ideal concierge amenity for residents. I'm looking for questions too. So if you have questions, don't be afraid to throw them in the chat. All right, so what can you actually provide in the home? We get this question a lot, and it's pretty fun. So back up and not fall over here. How much can you actually provide in the home? We provide a lot in the home. We're providing primary care, wellness, acute and chronic, physical therapy, diagnosis and treatment. We're bringing mental health into the home. We have a pharmacy with over 550 free prescriptions. Many of them are the prescriptions that most people need on a daily basis. We have specialist referrals. So if it's something that we do not cover as Nice Healthcare, we have the opportunity to send in-network referrals to specialists that are needed. We can bring lab work into the home, so we can swing by your house in the middle of your meeting, take your labs. We have 35 of those we do under the Nice Healthcare brand. We can also refer out if there's any beyond that we don't do, but those are free with this particular product. We can bring x-rays and EKGs into your home. So now kiddo jumps off the bunk bed, lands hard, and you say, oh, I think we might have a broken leg here. Maybe not, maybe a broken ankle. We'll roll up the x-ray machine. We'll check out that child before you take them to an urgent care or an ER to find out it's really just a sprain and they need to stop jumping off the bed. But we can do that. So we can bring those things into the home. And then part of our very secret sauce that we're very proud of is our care coordination. We have real people behind the scenes. So this is not all robotic. We have incredible technology, but that human touch piece we talked about behind the scenes is happening. As your care is being coordinated or needs to be coordinated, we're doing that with you behind the scenes. So when you need a specialist referral or when you need to see us again or you need us to help you get that prescription for the mental health therapy and what have you, we're helping you do that. All of real people behind the scenes are doing that. So why is this so amazing? Right now, you can download an app and you basically say, hey, I need to schedule an appointment. Within a few minutes, someone pops on and says, hey, let's get you scheduled for an appointment. First thing we do is come to you virtually. So we'll start off seeing you in your home via video. You can do it online or via your phone through the app. And we check you out there. If we need to come to your home, we'll do that as well. Most days we can be there same day and we can come check you out and get you everything you need in that moment. So we literally are coming to you. We start in your home with the video and then we drive to you, knock on your door and walk in and help you right where you are. So it's pretty exciting. And the app is very user-friendly. So that's the one thing. It's a very savvy group in most of these properties. They're very aware of how to use technology. But I will tell you that this is one of the simpler apps that I think that they could use. So we're simplifying nice healthcare. We're simplifying healthcare. We're making it nice, right? So the whole goal is that they're not afraid to use it. It's not too expensive for them. And it just comes to them so it's convenient. So very similar to a lot of other needed and technological advances happening right now. So nice by the numbers. Who do we actually take care of, right? We have 90,000 different folks that are covered under Nice Healthcare right now. We've had over 1 million patient and provider interactions. We have about 575 clients since 2017 and growing fairly rapidly, I would say. And we have 12 different insurance providers offering a premium discount. I don't want to skew that accidentally. By the way, we are not insurance. You do not need insurance to use Nice Healthcare. We are literally just a membership fee and part of that amenity package, concierge package, however you would like to do it. So nothing to do with insurance. In fact, the whole goal is to help them avoid their high deductible plans where they're not having to use copays. They don't have to go in and submit bills, wait for bills to come to them. No surprises. It's literally just covered in that amenity. So that's just one I want to make sure we're clear on that. Everybody knows we're not insurance. So our reviews are fantastic. Google us, you'll see. We have an NPS, which is a Net Promoter Score of 93.2, which is fairly off the charts. I would say, a lot of folks don't see that number. We see that number because we do a very good job of taking care of people. 98% of the people that have transferred over to NICE have decided that we are better than their previous clinic. We have 3 times the utilization of a regular in-person clinic because people are actually utilizing this service because we come to them and make it easier. And we have about a 9.5 out of 10 scheduling rating, which means that we're getting people scheduled and through the care that they need very quickly. All right. Any questions? We are in 12 states, Brittany. Thank you so much for asking that question. I'm going to start going through the questions real quick. We're in 12 different markets right now, and we do have providers and nurses in those markets. So we're nurse practitioner-led practices, which means that we have nurse practitioners, but we also have RNs, phlebotomists, and all different folks for all those different types of services. We also have licensed mental health therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, and what have you. And then we have our other physical therapy folks. So we do have folks in each and every one of those markets. And I'll show you a slide in just a minute, Brittany, that helps you understand where we are right now. But we are growing and looking to grow outside of those markets. Venus, you hit a spot for me. Student housing, that's something I would love to talk with folks about. I think that we would love to be helping out the student housing complexes and would love to talk about that. We are not in student housing yet, but we've had a lot of interest about it. So I think that's something, if you'd like to chat offline, I'd be happy to do that because I think it's a way we can really help students at a time when we can come to them when they still need that mom come to me feeling take care of me. But it also reduces a lot of costs for their parents in the long run. So it's a very great question. And hello to everybody else that popped on. All right. So we don't have a minimum, Marisol. That's a great question too. So Marisol asked, what's the smallest property you have in your system and trying to understand minimum requirements? We don't really have a minimum at all right now. So I will say we're newer here. So we're looking to partner with folks that find this as a very value added amenity for them. So there's no real requirements. I would say most of the properties we're talking to are over 100 units at least per property, but some of them are 350. And then there's, nationwide property groups that, awesome, Venus, thank you. There's nationwide property groups that have obviously, many, many, many more units than that. So we're all working to see how we can provide for them too. But that's a good question. I'd love to see what, Marisol, if there's a type of building or a different type of complex you're thinking about. Because if you're thinking build to rent and things like that, we also can work on those spaces where there might be less property overall. Great question. More questions. Bobby Joe, how would the leasing agent present this when showing the property? Is there a training the leasing agent would go through? Yes. Hey, Casey. So the leasing agent, the goal is that we're not trying to burden your agents or property folks with any more work. So the goal is our customer success team comes in and helps with a lot of that engagement. We would absolutely train the agent and let them know what we're doing, but it is not the goal to have them be like, oh, hey, you have to do this, and this. Our goal is to come in and market to your residents and make sure your leasing agents are very aware of what's needed, but also we hope to take a lot of that burden off them where they can say, hey, just call NICE, look back over here, and then hopefully also do some events with your properties so that the residents really understand how to utilize this so they're not coming to your leasing agent. But it is pretty exciting to have as an add-on in that conversation, so we would make sure that agent is very well educated. Great question. All right, good questions, everybody. I'm going to pop onto this next slide real quick here because I think it might be really helpful. So these are our active markets right now. These are the states we're licensed in and currently working in. So if you're in one of those states, we can show up and start working pretty quickly. I would say within a couple of weeks, we could be up and running in your properties. Our virtual and in-home markets are listed there as far as like each and every city. We're growing. You could be our next market, and that's something we can absolutely talk about offline as well. So don't worry if you're not seeing that market, we can talk about it. How do you give them access to the apartment? Like, for example, does the property manager have to let the nurse in? What if it's after hours? Okay, great question. This will probably be a little different building to building, and that's we've talked to different folks who say, well, our door person's going to have to let them in, or the resident will have to come down and let them in. We'll see. So it might be different from building to building, but the access is really similar to, I would say, like the resident running down to pick up their pizza that they ordered or their DoorDash, whatever's coming to the building for them. We're doing the same thing. We're coming to the building, so we would be let in that same manner. So whatever the rules of that property are, we would follow. And then after hours, yeah, that would be up to the resident, I would expect, for depending on whatever the lobby hours would be, the resident would have to kind of take on coming down to get somebody, I guess, which may not seem ideal if they're really feeling poorly, but we can talk about ways to access as well if you'd like to. Thank you for the question. Thanks, David. So Jacobo, I hope I'm saying that right. It's a cool name. Very interesting. The primary care service is a service that will be paid with plans directly with the property manager. What service cost remains to the property managers? The only cost for Nice Healthcare is $39 per month per unit. Very important question. We are $39 per month per unit. We cover every single named resident in that unit, including children. So that $39 covers everybody for those 8 services we showed you back on a couple slides ago. So I'll go back actually a couple slides and just put up with what's available to you for that $39. So there's nothing beyond that. There's no surprises. It could be that their care, once they come out of this primary care setting, goes into a specialist setting and they take on a different cost from there. But as far as Nice Healthcare, $39 flat fee. So that's pretty nice. And that's per unit, not per person. So each unit is $39, and for that $39, you have all of these particular services covered. Senior living, Marisol. We're not in senior living facilities yet. We get a lot of questions for that, so it's an interesting one. Right now, we're really in kind of a working demographic. We're talking about folks that have regular kind of everyday insurance. They're working right now, and they are basically paying so much money to be able to have this great insurance that they can't use because it costs them so much money. So we've really been focused on that demographic right now, but we're getting an awful lot of interest in the senior living. So we can certainly look into that some more and see, where that interest takes us. Great question. Awesome. Wow, you guys have great questions. These are great. Excellent, excellent. Keep them coming. This is fun. And then, okay, so I showed you our markets, and don't be afraid, because if you see a market that we're not in, we'd love to talk to you about potentially moving into that market. The East Coast is kind of a hot spot for us too right now, so there's a lot of interest heading that direction. But right now, as far as what you're seeing in those markets that we're in, the 12 states and 18 markets, we are ready to go, and we're actually seeing patients there. And we always say we might actually be seeing patients in your buildings already, and you might not actually know that. So it could be that we're coming in and out and visiting folks that have this service through an employer. And I didn't mention that from the beginning, but one of our other core businesses for Nice Healthcare is employer benefits. So this can also be a real bump in the right direction for your employees as well. We offer to employees, and the same price, does everything, covers their entire family living in their home or household, I would say, whoever's in the household. And so if you need something to help reduce costs on employee benefits, it's also a wonderful opportunity. But some folks do have this through their employer, so they're already receiving care. We are working mainly, Bobby asked if we're working with conventional or just conventional or affordable housing as well. Affordable housing comes up an awful lot because this is just wonderful for that. We do have some restrictions, slight restrictions on Medicaid, so we've stayed more in conventional to avoid kind of tipping that in a tough direction. But it is something that comes up quite a bit. David, I'll go ahead and tell you, we're not in any apartments yet. So we've been at this, we've really been in the market for about a year. We've done our research, gained all of our kind of necessary information, and now we have some really great conversations going, but we're new. So this is coming down the pike, and we're very excited to get some of our first partners on board and gather some of the data, but we are in Nebraska, and we could definitely help you there. Great question. Is there Neaton asks, is there an underwriting aspect to NICE? I would assume that from a profitability standpoint, this works similar to any type of insurance, balancing out costs of the business with the premiums, monthly fees collected. So similar concept, yeah. So you're bringing in the fee per unit, right? And then there's a certain amount that will utilize that. But for all properties, the main thing to think about is it's $39 per unit only, and we ask for that to come in monthly payments. So there's not huge outlays of cash, and it kind of balances out. To Patrick's point earlier about bringing money back into the building, one of the things I'd like to say based on that, and Shane, I'll get to your question in just a second. That's another good one. Based on this particular type of service, we can really open up a significant amount of income for residents. So income that they're spending, if they are utilizing healthcare, it's going out the window. They're spending exorbitant amounts of money to be cared for, especially in the primary care setting where we want everybody to be, so we avoid those expensive later costs. The goal of this is that not just makes money for the property, but potentially the resident too. So initially out of the gate, they're seeing a $39 fee, or if you mark it up a little bit, maybe $49 fee added to their rent. And then you find that later on, what they would have spent to go to primary care 3 or 4 times or 2 times, whatever it is far outweighing what they're paying in the nice health care. So they start to transition into using nice health care, opening up that income, and they're just having a much better experience. I hope that answered your question. Shane, is NICE providing full indemnification to the community owner and management? So we do have an entire legal write-up that does provide you indemnifications, and we are happy to share that with you so you understand what's going on. This is very similar to any other type of medical. We're taking it on. So yes, we are happy to share that with you so you understand that you're in good shape and have your legal review with our legal. But the main point here is, like any other service coming into your building, we provide that service. We take it to the resident, so it's kind of between us and the resident. And the goal is to keep that off of you as much as possible. Minimum complex size to get started. Great question, Bobby. No, there's not. And we are looking for partners of different sizes so we understand how to work with those different types of folks and different entities as well. So I think that's great. I'm curious, Bobby Joe, if that's 9 units of build to rent or if it's townhouses or what those types of 9 units are. I'm just really curious because it could be an interesting and fun way to market to that particular property. I think that's the other thing to talk about here is the marketing opportunity for this is pretty substantial to be able to say that you're offering something like this and to be able to say that you can only get it if you're living here, and if you leave here, that's not going to be available too. So it's pretty neat and exciting when you think about what you can do with this. Hey, Casey, I will gladly give you a brief summary of what NICE offers. Shane, yes, we've thought about it. Okay, I'll come back to that. So a brief summary of what NICE offers. I'm going to go back real quick and just share a screen that shows we have oops, did I go too fast? Right here. So this particular screen shows everything that we offer for the most part. And don't forget, we're bringing really sweet, nice people into your home too. So we offer a human touch. So what you're not seeing based on this slide are the wonderful people that are our providers that come to your home and take good care of you and your family. So that's the piece that we're not showing on screen, but these are the services we provide for that $39 a month per unit. Shane, we talked about opt-in models for residents, but one of the reasons we don't do that is, one, it's nice to keep it exclusive, so it gives you some opportunity to work on that attraction and retention, but it also gets more expensive for residents and properties that way, right? So not properties, I guess it would be more for the residents, but the opt-in model grows in expense, and it's very hard to keep our model in line with who's opting in and who's not. So in order to provide the best experience possible, we keep it in this partnership model so that we know exactly what we're dealing with, who's on board, who's not, and how we can take care of those particular folks. And if the opt-in model can get a little goofy, and so we've kind of just stayed away from that for the moment. If the building has 386 units, you need to complete or commit to implementing NICE for every unit in the building. Katie, great question. We actually have a couple of different buildings that are saying, hey, we're at 75% occupancy. Do we have to pay for, 100% occupancy? And our whole point to that is no. If you have 70% occupancy, you pay for that because those are the folks that are going to hopefully use this service. Or if you're looking at it as, hey, we just need to get up and running, or whatever your situation might be, we are flexible. We're willing to talk to every property about what works best for you. So don't be afraid to bring a question to me after this and just say, hey, this is why I'm saying that. We want to do 200 units, or we want to do 100 for whatever reason. Let's talk about that, and we'll see what we can do. Because all different buildings have different scenarios and things that they need. So we're happy to talk with you about that. David, do residents have to sign a contract for a certain length of time, or can they do 1 month a year if they choose? Good question. So as this is just available with the lease. So you're sharing this particular amenity as part of a concierge package or saying, hey, this is available to you. It's just there 12 months a year for them to use as they wish. The goal is to get them to use it. Like, our hope is that we'll come do some events with you and that we'll get the excitement around nice healthcare where these folks start to really utilize the care and know it's available to them and aren't afraid to use it. It takes a little time to build it up, but they can use it one month a year if that's all they need, or they can use it as much as they need. So it's just there and available to them as long as they live there. I hope that answered your question. These are great questions. Wow. All right, I'm not seeing any new questions right now. That is pretty much nice healthcare in a slide presentation. We're so much more than that. Our providers are fantastic. Do go to Google, read our reviews. People love our providers. They don't get mentioned and seen in these particular settings as much as I would love for them to, but they are what make it so special. No, we're not in any apartments yet, Caitlin. You didn't mishear that. We are very close to some partnerships right now, but we're fairly new to this, so we're about a year in. So we're at the point where we're starting to get pretty close with some folks. So it's very exciting. It's a good time to jump on board so you can be the first. Tara, what have you learned from your current subscribers that has helped your growth planning and package offerings? So while we're not in apartments right now, we are in every other industry for the most part. So we work with car dealerships up to the Minnesota Vikings as our client. We are in multiple industries, and our subscribers talk to us all the time, and this is part of those reviews, about how special it is that they can quickly access us via our app, that we're providing prescriptions to them free or under that $39 per month that they could not naturally afford otherwise or normally afford otherwise. And they're talking about how wonderful it is to have somebody come into the home and say, take care of their 3 children who all had strep throat. Mom and Dad didn't have to stick them in a car and drag them around to the doctor, right? So it's really a very special offering that for that $39 a month, they're getting all of those services brought right into their home. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't have to spend any more money. And that we hear a lot about that. It truly changes people's lives. And I would say the labs are pretty special. We've had folks say, hey, they roll up, they, took my blood right before my meeting and they were gone and it was done. They didn't have to go somewhere, wait for everything. It was just done right then and there. So that's a pretty special opportunity, I think, for a lot of people. Annie, great question. How does the rollout work? As leases are renewed, new residents move in, the income would not cover the full expense. Is there a ramp up in the expense over time? We can certainly ramp up. We've had a couple of different concepts presented to us as we're learning here. And some folks have said, hey, we're going to do this as each apartment renews. Or some say we're just going to give it to everybody all at once. Some say we're only going to do 75% of our occupancy. There's a number of different things that we've heard, and we're working with everybody the best we can. Our website URL, Shane, is nice.healthcare/real estate. I'm questioning because I feel like there's a hyphen in there somewhere. And I'm happy to make sure that's provided to this entire group at the end of this. We'll share all this information. And the rollout is really simple. One of the things we really need is just a list of who's in every unit. And then as that changes, that's what we need. And then we just kind of tap into their medical records, all HIPAA certified, careful. Everything's just as it would be if they went to another doctor. All right. Wow, great questions. Oh, you do? We got LinkedIn questions too, so I'm going to try to answer those real quick as well. Thank you.
All right, so I'll come on here with you. Hey, guys. So as you were talking about some things and some of these great questions, by the way.
Yes.
A couple things came to mind. You mentioned you're not in apartments, but they may be getting nice healthcare services already through employers. So they may be servicing your apartments right now, and we just don't know about it yet, or you're not benefiting from it, right?
Yes. It's pretty popular, I would say, especially we're here in Arizona, and this is one of our hot markets, right? And I know we're seeing folks all over town right now, so it could be they live in one of your properties here in Arizona. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. One of the things we don't do is a lot of recommendations. We don't tell you what to do, but Carrie loves this stuff. we're actually, and I've scheduled some meetings, and it's amazing. It'll completely change the way you think about healthcare. But I wanted to talk about a couple of things. as you're talking about the whole property getting, it's not really like the resident. It's more like the unit is insured.
Yes.
Right. And so what's interesting to me about that is traditionally we've been trained to get our health care through our employer.
Yep.
And employers realize, like, hey, listen, if we take care of our employees, productivity goes up, life is better. We've all bought into that, right? And now this is an opportunity for the property to do the same thing, but think of their residents as that same population. Where do you really care about your residents here, right? You can help them save money, get access in-home services, but also give them purchasing power that they could never get kind of on their own, right? Yes. So that could be a differentiator. Another, I don't want to, if you have thoughts on that.
You made me think of something though. And if you're listening and watching on LinkedIn and what have you, I'm seeing every day about all these technological layoffs, and there's over 100,000 folks without jobs right now. We're really helpful for that. So while they're struggling to pay for their medications, or they still need healthcare on a daily basis or weekly basis, monthly basis, they can have nice healthcare and still be cared for and not be paying out of pocket for those expenses. So for the primary care piece of what we do. So it's a huge help for gig workers, anybody who's been laid off, they own their own business, they're transferring from state to state. Very helpful.
I start thinking about the way work is changing too. So not everybody, some people are freelancing, gig economy, working independently. And so they may have lost the opportunity to get access to healthcare, and you're really opening that up to others. I think that's really compelling. I wrote down sticky. In other words, we know that people will not move jobs because of their insurance relationship with their employer. Yeah. So now your property can then create that experience where, you can move down the street, but you would lose access to this healthcare. I also thought about PR and marketing, in that so apartment owners and managers have historically not been like the best in the news and the movies and Hollywood and Hallmark movies. It's like we plow down trees and raise the rent, right? So now there's an opportunity to do something good. It's a great, compelling story to tell, and you're probably spending more money acquiring the customer than the cost to provide this type of service. So think about it like from a marketing standpoint too as well.
ESG.
ESG.
You're checking the box, right, on your ESG.
Right. You mentioned, are there any revenue share opportunities? Is there a way to, I guess people could.
We can talk about that. Yep. We're happy to discuss.
Talk to you directly about that.
Absolutely.
Another thing I've heard others say about this is you're giving people the access to, when they don't feel well, how do they get relief? Mm-hmm. And right now it looks like trying to find an appointment somewhere, paying the what are those? Copays, yeah. All the fees.
We all want to forget
it. That's money that's going away from servicing the rent, right? Like that's it's like giving the customer some kind of a economic raise. But how when they're not feeling well, how do your residents get that relief? And I think you're providing an emotional connection to the brand around, this was available to me because I chose to live here. And that's something that could transfer into TikToks, anything, all over the branding. So I think that was interesting. Those are my notes.
I love that last note about the branding. We talked about the Innovation Summit that I believe it's 90% of people are loyal to a particular brand, and then they spend 67% of their money within that brand. So I'm quoting, I have to get you where I got that from, but I promise it's really real. They got that stat. But when you think about if they start doing that with your property, your brand loyalty, the opportunity for rewards, things that you could be doing. We talk about hotels. They're getting brand loyalty on somebody who spends a night there. You have somebody spending a year, 3 months, 6 months at your apartment complex. Like, how do you get that sticky, and what are you doing that makes it different, and how are you making them comfortable where they feel like they're really at home? And we'd like to think that we can be part of that and helpful there. So
David has a question. Did we address that one, or
not yet? David, thank you. Does this come with unlimited usage of your services? Let's say someone wants a checkup every month. Extreme to make the point. Is this covered, or is there a limit to residence use? This is unlimited. they're going to want to see our folks more because our people are amazing. And yes, Carrie does love it. And she can admit that this is like a real thing. Yes, it's pretty neat. They're really loving, wonderful people. And it's a basis of our company. We do everything with love. So they can use it as much as they want. But they might find by using it initially more that they don't need to use it as much because they're taking care of themselves. So they're not letting things build up.
Yeah, and you know what? When the nurses were here, they came in the studio. And it was interesting because they love it. So it's like there's value in the delivery of the service.
Yes.
I think they appreciate the model.
Yes. Oh, they do. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up because our nurse practitioners, they are W-2 employees. They work for Nice Healthcare, so they're not a third-party service or something like that. So they do love to work for us from what we've learned, and they have a really good experience here. And they're seeing half the patients with more quality time. So our appointments, I think our online appointments are 45 minutes to an hour, and then in-home can be upwards of 2 hours. So we're not just like rushing in and rushing out and saying like staring at a computer the whole time and going, okay, ding, 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 and then leaving them sitting there wondering if they actually just got care or not. They know they've been cared for while we're there. So yeah, you're right. I think our people are really pretty happy. That helps.
And, you know, I actually flew out. I can't say some of the companies you work with. They're really amazing, impressive companies. I flew out to your headquarter areas and got to meet your CEO and really spend, you know, the reason we do things like we're doing here is we have to transfer the knowledge, right? And that's what any relationship, you know, the more time you spend with something, the more you start to appreciate and find value in how it'll work for you, for your reasons, not ours or anybody else's, right? And so getting on the plane and spending time with your entire team and the CEO and seeing what you're doing for really impressive organizations that have already done the due diligence, and then seeing the vision of a third of America's population renting and seeing that as an opportunity to make life better for them, and then also create some opportunities for apartment owners is really significant. I don't know what you can share about them, and you work there. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, are you talking about the event that you came to?
Well, not the event, but just really your leadership and
they're amazing.
There's passion.
Yes. There's
inspiration, and there's deep medical knowledge and growth that has occurred long before this company, and I think that's worthy of mentioning.
So Thompson, Adder, and Comey, he's our CEO, and he founded the company along with two other wonderful young ladies, Allison Santos and Genevieve Swenson. Genevieve Swenson's a nurse practitioner by trade. Allison comes to us with a operational background, and Thompson, he's a healthcare statistician, so he can just kind of do these numbers in his head that other people just faint over. But he's doing it because the goal of knowing those numbers is how to really help people who are suffering in our current healthcare system. And he's incredibly passionate about it. He wants very much to make this something that is nice and loving. And he's not kidding. So our corporate meetings talk a lot about love and how to make things nicer for people. And we do that by showing love and caring about who we're actually caring for. We're not doing this just as a business. We don't want to just make money on it. We're looking to truly care for people and give them an experience they've never had. And we're doing it, and it's going very, very well. So it's pretty neat. I would say I dislike the word minority. I don't want to say anybody that is a minority, but there's this whole idea that we have two female founders and a black founder, and we're very excited about that because they're completely just like shredding the healthcare system as it used to once be and just making it completely new. And I'm so proud of what they do and how our whole company operates. And I think look them up. Definitely look at our website. There's nice.healthcare for our core employee benefits business, and then there's the healthcare real estate side, and it just kind of explains why we're all doing what we're doing. But it did all come from a bad experience. So the minute you have a bad experience in healthcare, it makes you really think about how it could be better, and that's what we're doing at Nice Healthcare. So.
Well, it's exciting to watch that innovation, and it's an opportunity for you guys to get to know. And you mentioned the real estate. I mean, you can go to the website. There's some information on there, but really you need to reach out to Kelly.
Yes, please.
Is there a slide that has that information? Or?
No.
No?
I have a QR code we could put up that will give you my direction, my information immediately. I don't know if it's easy to pop up there.
If it's not in there.
It's not in there. So
we can, those of you that register, we can get you access to that. If you are watching this on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, anywhere across the web that we're live streaming right now, we're in our private studio taking questions from our audience. And you can go to multifamilyleadership.com, click on events, and when you see the Multifamily Innovation Showcase, you'll see, I think it's called Improving the Value of the Lease. Click on that, register. You'll get access to any of the notifications as part of this event. And we'll make sure we get you introduced to Kelly.
Thank you.
You've been having some great conversations with some operators that I know and respect. And I know you're at that point where, there's a lot of things that have to, answers that need to be, or questions that need to be answered.
Yes.
But I encourage you to find an opportunity to meet, because there's money in the business to make life better for the customers. You mentioned love. I know we sometimes say love our residents and all that stuff, but are we really? This is an opportunity to do that. So Brittany has a question here. Do we want to?
Pat, no snow in Charlotte. I'm from the Holly Springs, North Carolina area, so it's still been pretty nice out there. I did want some too. Brittany asked, how quickly does someone get care if they make an appointment or need someone to come when they have a fever or something? So depends on what time of day they call, but I would say it's very quick. So that first appointment is scheduled virtually. We get right in there, hopefully within a couple of hours, and then we can usually be to the home same day. If we need to come out and say we need to look in ears or check throats, we can often be there same day.
You're walking off set here.
I'm walking off set. They gave me a mark. I said,
so it's interesting, Marisol's question. I know you'll get to that, but that's fascinating, because in the old movies, it was like the bag that comes.
They show up and
It's kind of, we're back to.
We are.
Healthcare.
Yes, it's very retro feeling for something so innovative and moving forward, right? So we have, like I said, we have all this technology, but we're doing something that's just a feel good, take it back to the old days before there was so much going on. But Marisol, it's really interesting you mentioned that. I know you mentioned hotels. I wanted to share that in Latin America, if you get sick in a hotel, a doctor or medical professional will come to your room and help you, similar to what is shared here. Has this been considered? Yes. That is something we definitely are talking about. Absolutely, 100%. What really is the difference? We come to you wherever you are. We're happy to help hotels. I have a number of folks in the hotel industry who have been talking about this and trying to figure it out, and also how to help their employees. So there's a lot of contract workers and things that don't just have normal benefits, so it's an opportunity there. And could it be applicable to residential leasing in the travel and leisure space? Yes. It can. Great question, Marisol. This is great. Yes, very much so. Airbnbs, all the different types of rental properties, absolutely. It's something we could consider. So we'd love to talk about that more if that's of interest. Carrie so kindly put my email address up there. Don't be afraid to email me. We love to talk with everybody. We're flexible. We want it to work for you. So ask away, please. These questions have been fantastic, by the way. I'm so grateful. Thank you all for interacting. Love it.
If you, I'm gonna jump off. I'm gonna let you hang out with your audience. If you have any final thoughts or stick around for questions, we'll take your questions. A little bit of delay by the time you answer. You have to type them out and all that stuff. But we'll stick around for you for a little bit. Thanks for answering the questions.
Thank you so much. Of course. Yeah. So I mean, I'll just talk for a minute in case there's folks typing, but. The overall picture of nice healthcare is the very first and most important part is we're helping people afford and access healthcare that maybe couldn't before, right? Or we're not able to do it in a way that gave them good quality care. So overarching theme is, Marisol says she can't see the email. Overarching theme is to get people the care that they need. Then you start moving it into how does it help the owner and operator. Do you want me to, real quick, my email is KKRASNER, K Krasner, at nice.healthcare. So there's no .com or anything. The .healthcare is our .com. So K Krasner at nice.healthcare. And I will happily put my phone number up there too. No spam calls, Kay. And that's 610-597-4017. Feel welcome to give me a buzz. Happy to do that. So we're looking to take care of people that need it. We're looking to make it affordable and accessible, convenient, on demand, hitting all the kind of key points of what people are looking for today. We're looking for attraction and retention for your properties and opportunity for revenue growth, where maybe you feel like there's nothing left to pick from, we're kind of that new thing coming down the pike. So we think our offering is pretty special. And we have so enjoyed talking to and working with everybody. And we have folks very excited about the marketing side of it and what they can do with the marketing and how they might be first to market in some cases. So it's been pretty neat to hear what everybody else needs from this particular type of product and situation. I'm not seeing any more questions yet, but we've had some really good ones. You can't see if anything's coming around. Okay, just making sure there's nothing sneaking in that I'm missing.
All right. Well,
Thank
listen,
you.
that was awesome.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. It was so nice to come.
Wonderful done. Marisol, thank you for that.
Thank you, Marisol.
All right. So thank you for joining us at the Multifamily Innovation Showcase. We'll bring more lovely events like this for you, bring in some experts to talk about some things that you can do to re-envision your business, solve a problem, either help keep more money, create more money, and also a great experience for your customers and residents. So thank you, Brittany, Marisol, all the great comments.
Thanks,
we'll see you guys
everybody.
on the next one. See ya.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Take care. Bye.